down to is, after the select committee meetings that went on for a long time,
Sure.
the FAA agreed to move this, what's called now the Surfer, it's now the Surfer 3 route, back to this route it used to be, which was slightly farther north. And they were supposed to do that by last August. And from what I've read last May, ESHU sent a request to the FAA saying, what is the schedule, when is it going to be done? And they never even got a response to that.
So nothing happened?
Nothing happened.
Okay.
And an FAA guy was actually at one of the SFO roundtable meetings a month or two ago, and he was asked that. He said, basically, he just said, no comment. So the first question is, how can we find out what's going on?
Well, you would think this should be public information, right? It can't be a top secret type of thing, right? You would think, right?
You would think, yeah. And I don't know, and nobody I talked to has any, way of finding out. The second thing is that I have a plan for, helping with this problem for us.
I would like to hear it.
Oh, well, so the plan is, as you know, there's these 3 routes that fly over us, and the planes from the south, which, that's most of them, but lots of times they're vectored because there's congestion over the bay, so they fly over Santa Cruz and they wander off course, and the air traffic control directs them around, and then they come back. But they always come back, here. So the first thing is, I don't think they really have to come back here. They could come back, either a little farther north or a little farther south, which would help disperse the noise. And the second thing is the planes from the east, there's this bodega route that, it hits San Francisco, and air traffic decides if they should go to the east side of the bay and U-turn over like San Mateo Bridge, or if that's too congested and they come down like 280 and U-turn over us. And if you watch them, lots of times they U-turn farther south, like down over Moffett, or sometimes it's farther north. So as far as I can tell, there's no real reason why the normal route has to be right over us. It seems like they could disperse those too without any real problem, other than, maybe a little more fuel for something. And the third one is, I guess, the oceanic routes, from Asia, well, from Australia down there. They also come over us, and it doesn't seem like there's any reason they could be moved. So that would help, it seems to me, without going through one of these 2-year or multi-year processes to design a new route. Because as far as I know, air traffic control, the local people are doing these things. And it seems like that could all be done rather quickly, and it would disperse the traffic.
Yeah,
but I can't find anybody to tell that to.
Sure.
Who matters? I've gone online, and Googled the FAA website, and, found telephone numbers to call.
You tried calling Ling Chow?
Who?
She's, I think, heads the Department of Transportation.
No.
Yeah, I think she's one of the cabinet members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaine
Chow.
Elaine Chow. Okay. Because the one of the main numbers I called, that number is no longer in service.
Oh, wow.
Another number I call, it goes to voicemail. It says, oh, the voicemail box is full. Click.
Yeah.
I can't find anybody to talk to.
So, what I did a while back, it's about a year ago now, this was to try to get money for the electrification of Caltrain, was I just totally, I was there with a couple other council members from other different cities, all along the Caltrain corridor. And we just said, hey, we're going to be there, hopefully you can meet with us. She wasn't unfortunately able to meet with us, but we met with her staff. And, like a week or so later, it was approved. Now, I don't think just because of us, but I think just because she got a lot of pressure. And so, I think, it's connecting these people, right? Like these cabinet members, they are supposed to serve the public. So it can have an impact. And so I think channeling that energy, right, to the appropriate people in the FAA, I think is the right thing to do.
I'll give that a try.
Yeah.
Ling Chow.
Yeah. Well, she's probably too high up, but you never know, right? Probably,
yeah.
Yeah. But
it's worth a try.
Worth a try, yeah. And so, but I mean, Do you know the org chart of the FAA?
No.
Okay, so I think that's one of the first things to kind of figure out. Like, what does the org chart look like? Because
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, because in the end, these organizations are supposed to serve the public, right? And so
Well, not really. For what I heard, the FAA, their number one goal is safety. The number two goal is efficiency. That's pretty much it.
well, uh,
Noise.
no,
They do have noise standards they have to
yeah.
adhere to, but they're obsolete.
But maybe think about it from just a practical sense, right? The airplane's only so big, and so and of course there has to be some gaps between the airplanes with the turbulence and all that. But if you think about it, there's actually a lot of space up there, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's probably more than one solution. It may not be. It may be. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a flight route expert or a pilot, so I don't know all the intricacies. But I would imagine that you know airplanes make up. It's not like traffic on the road here where there's really physically no space, right? I mean,
Right.
in the air, there's actually a lot of space. It's just how do you route them, right?
Yeah.
And so and to do it safely, right? Because I do agree with today's mission, which is we want to be safe, right?
Absolutely.
I think
That's got to be number one.
that's number one, and I don't think anyone debates that, right? But
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of routes that are safe,
Oh, sure.
and some routes are noisier than others, and so why not go for less noisy routes?
Yeah.
It's probably just something they didn't think about, right? But I think if we could understand the power structure, the organization structure, right?
Yeah.
And then I mean, it would be really interesting to know like who was the people or the department that actually first caused this change, right? And it's I think understanding like who, but it wasn't just like some
Right.
random.
Some guy in the back room.
Somebody did it, right? And
it took them years to do it,
yeah,
too, and they're not done yet.
Yeah. So there's some people there that are in charge of this and trying to understand who they are, and how they make decisions, right? Because I think probably they were just maybe trying to focus on, I would guess, like capacity and fuel efficiency,
Right.
and that was like what they were focused on, and then the noise part they probably didn't even think about. I thought very low about.
They have a standard, but it's very loose.
Yeah. But I would.
So the other thing I read someplace just recently was that the FAA will not move noise. They will not move traffic because of noise. I think I read that was one of their guidelines.
Well,
they will move traffic because of efficiency and safety, but not just because of noise.
So that to me seems like that's something which if there's enough public outcry.
Yeah.
That will change, right? Because that's kind of like ludicrous, right? I mean,
yes, kind of.
Like why could you not put the noise right over the bay where
exactly.
nobody lives, or in the middle of the desert or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So to say that, so if that's really true, what you said is true, then
there's no hope.
And well, not just hope, but it's ridiculous, right? I mean, that's I mean, I mean, in the end, I understand what you're saying. The safety first and maybe fuel efficiency, but in the end, they're there to serve the public. And can you imagine any public official saying, it's a ludicrous thing to say, like, oh yeah, we're just going to ignore all the noise.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, right? Why would you deliberately irritate people if you don't have to?
I know.
And you think with all the computer simulation stuff out there today, that you put a computer on this thing and it was like figure out all the possible routes and do the one that's less noisy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you not do that?
Yeah.
So I just think that there's probably people who are kind of like just not part of the mission right now, so they don't think about it. But if you can go to the level that you make noise consideration part of the mission, I think that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is that the FAA is such a gigantic organization. It's hard to know who the heck does what there.
Yeah.
Right. But somebody does something there, right?
I know.
Right. But it's probably not a nefarious thing. It's probably not like someone saying, "Oh, let's stick it to Palo Alto." I don't think it's like that.
Oh no, I don't think it's like that. I think it's that they just wanted to increase capacity and efficiency.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the number of people in Palo Alto that are affected by this, it's not all that big compared to the number of people affected by all these these more global issues.
Yeah, but still, like
So,
I think we should really understand that organization. Like we should have like an org chart.
yeah, that's a good point.
Like a very
I'll
good-
work on that.
Yeah, it's a very detailed org chart. And what we should understand is how because this wasn't like when I moved to Palo Alto, there always wasn't that big of a deal, right?
Yeah,
And now it's like
yeah,
pretty noticeable, right? So
yeah,
how like how did the decision that was made before, how was it made and who made it, right? Because if you understand how that happened in the past, then you understand how to improve it, right? And um and yeah, then we know like who to lobby and how to make things happen. Because right now I think it's kind of like just so many different competing interests, right?
hmm
And this, like you said, like a voice is just one small,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I feel a little, I don't know, guilty, sending emails to Eshu about this when
Yeah.
look at all the huge problems they're
Yeah.
trying to deal with.
But like even, I mean, I think the issue is that she doesn't have direct control over it, right?
She doesn't. That's right.
She's kind of like us. It's not her direct
She
control.
doesn't. But they, our representatives were able to get this select committee formed and get the FAA to be involved in it.
Yeah,
and,
but I think we really have to understand the power structure of the FAA. Like how does that? I mean, every bureaucracy has a power structure, right? And how does that work?
Yeah.
And if we truly understand how that works, then I think we can start affecting change. If we don't understand how it works, it's really hard because just the inertia of the organization is just so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that'll be fun to try to sleuth that out.
I mean, I would imagine this should be all public record.
You would think it would be, yeah.
Right? I
It's
mean,
just a matter of finding it.
and also I would imagine that, like if I've talked to a lot of people in Palo Alto, and so many people are upset about the airplane news, but no one I've talked to actually understood exactly who controls this and how it happens. So anyway, so if you could help with that, that would be awesome.
Okay. And the next lady I was talking to downstairs, she was here to talk about the trains.
Oh, okay.
And I have a solution to that too.
Well, I think you're welcome to stay for that too, if you're interested in talking about that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's we should talk to Raj, but if
the lady cares.
what we try to do is we try to bundle all the issues together. So if you're also interested in trains,
I am. Yeah.
and then if she's also interested in trains, I think.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. We'll just ask Raj.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Should I stay here or go out?
We'll just ask Raj first. And then, okay.
Well, the lady about trains, I also interested. And maybe
Yeah.
ask her.